Hi guys, welcome back. It's me, Nathan, and this is Heather.
Heather.
Oh, the wonderful, delectable Heather.
Yes.
We're here to do a point of view, psychic's point of view on a video, and we're going to cover today: is the Ark of the Covenant really lost,
Mm.
or did Indiana Jones put it in his pocket and take it away? This is what we're
Right.
here to find out. So
Great movies.
this is by I hope I say this, and I apologize if I say this wrong. It's Hochelaga. That's who's put this post on. But before then, if you love this video, please comment. We love your comments. If you have any new videos you want us to watch, we'll have a look and see what we can do. Remember to like, subscribe, ring that notification bell. Yeah. And on top of that, don't forget this channel is an amazing channel, and there's a Conscious Spirit channel as well, TCS Everyday Psychics. You can, if you go to our website, there's healing, there's clearings,
Hmm.
there's loads of stuff on the readings. So if you fancy
Yeah.
that, drop us a message, get back to us. If there is anything strange in your house that you need us to sort out and clear and look into for you, we can do that, and that's free of charge.
It is.
Yeah, and yeah, we've had quite a few. So if you need any help, we're there. We're like the I was going to say the Ghostbusters, but we're not. Because not only we help the humans, we help the spirits, because it's very important. You know, it's a two-way, three-way street. Two-way
Yeah.
street, three-way street. Yeah, so yeah, anything else? Have I missed anything, Heather? Can't remember.
We do also have some blog posts on our website that many might be interested in, and we're continuing to work on those and put out, some new topics. So please give it a shot and see what you're interested in. Comment in any of the videos and let us know your thoughts or what you might be looking for in the blog post so we could better tailor it.
So I mean, like for example, this video, we're doing something completely different. Rather than
Hmm.
doing the classic ghosties or that sort of
Yeah.
avenue, we're now doing something a
Yeah.
little bit different. So we let us know what you
Yeah.
think, and please like, it helps the algorithms. Yeah, so I think any more further ado, should we play
Let's
the
get
video?
started.
Okay, let's go.
The Ark of the Covenant. According to the Hebrew Bible, it's an ornate gold box supposed to have housed 2 stone tablets containing the original 10 commandments. As well as being a sacred artifact, there are several stories detailing its immense power, used by the Israelites in warfare to destroy enemy armies and flatten entire cities. However, at a certain point in the biblical account, it vanishes, never to be seen or heard of again. Although many believe that it was destroyed when a Babylonian army besieged Jerusalem in 587 BCE, there's evidence to suggest that it's still out there, waiting to be discovered. Some say that it's in an undiscovered cave in the Judean desert, sealed away for millennia. Others claim to have actually seen it, and that it's safely kept in a church in Ethiopia. Yet others still say that it's in the very place it went missing, in an underground vault deep below Jerusalem. The whereabouts of this mythical Hebrew object continues to elude biblical archaeologists. It's often the subject of wild and elaborate speculation, with entertaining yet unsubstantiated conspiracies as to its current location. That's where I hope to come in. I want to investigate this matter carefully and really separate the fact from the fiction. So with that, let's ask the question: is the Ark of the Covenant really lost?
What's your first impressions, Heather?
I see digging in dirt, men with this specific type of hat not sure what they're called, but it just, and maybe hat isn't the right term, more of a wrap.
Yeah, yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
yeah. So
That's
I
very
see,
Egyptian, isn't it? Egyptians wear those. It's to help,
yeah,
isn't it to cool them down or something, and or some religion as well. I'm not too sure.
yes, it could be. And yeah, so I see them digging at the very bottom. They're uncovering something. Thus far, it seems that the condition that they may be in would be very poor versus what they originally were. So it might be not a full tablet. It might be, a chunk, or they're trying to find writing. And as we continue in the video, that could change. That's just the first impression. What did you get?
Yeah, it's definitely not been destroyed. It's hidden, so it was found. Now somebody else has got it's been hidden again. But I also got it's not what you think it is. So and also the whole thing. I don't know
Hmm.
what that means. But also I got the tablets have been they haven't been permanently destroyed, but they have been smashed. And I think that was down to the way it passed way. I think
Yeah.
people were afraid of it, and it would have been the scholars that would have done that. Um,
That smashed them.
yeah, yeah. It feels to me like the stone tablets with writing. It's not them that have the energy. It's the energy around it that they what it means, what the meanings of the tablets and the box and why it's stored. It seems that's the energy that's very sacred, not the actual physical tablet.
Absolutely.
So, but I also get question marks, question mark, question mark, question mark. I don't know if it's above my pay grade to know this, or it's a secrecy. Yeah, maybe the video will tell us more.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go.
Historically speaking, the precise origin of the Ark is unknown, but the Bible offers its own version of events, which can be found in the book of Exodus. After escaping slavery in Egypt, Moses and the Israelites were camped out at the base of Mount Sinai. Then, suddenly, the earth shook and smoke appeared on the mountain's summit, and the voice of God called out from above. He commanded Moses to ascend the mountain, and there he stayed for 40 days and 40 nights. When Moses returned, he carried with him 2 stone tablets. Inscribed on them were the 10 Commandments. These 10 sacred laws constituted part of the covenant, a divine pact between God and the nation of Israel. The Israelites will become a cherished people of God, provided they follow his laws. Shortly after, God demanded that Moses construct a chest, or ark, to safely house the 2 stone tablets. He then gave a very detailed description on how it is supposed to look. Quote, "Have them make an ark of acacia wood, 2.5 cubits long, 1.5 cubits wide, and 1.5 cubits high. Overlay it with pure gold, both inside and out, and make a gold molding around it." The description continues, and the ark is supposed to have 2 gold rings on either side, through which large poles could be fitted so that it could be carried. Inside the ark were placed the stone tablets containing the 10 Commandments. Elsewhere in the Bible, we learn that it also stored a jar of manna, the miraculous food substance that appeared in the desert, as well as a wooden staff which belonged to Aaron, Moses' brother. On the top of the ark was an elaborate gold lid with 2 cherubim facing one another. The lid was known as the mercy seat, and it was the holiest part of the ark. It acted as a throne for God, who was said to appear seated on it before Moses and Aaron.
So did you get something, Heather?
Yeah, something feels funny about the origin of it, like the reason that these laws were delivered. It something about the times,
Mm-hmm.
the people that these laws were delivered to, and I'm scared to say it.
Okay.
Like a form of control.
Yeah,
I feel very uncomfortable.
um, I don't know. I don't know if control is right. Or is it right?
Okay.
Rules to abide by. Um, that man would understand.
And the way that Moses received them, there's a lot of symbolism in the description that we don't understand what really happened. For example, he may have fasted. There may have been some use of fasting versus, how it's read to us, and some other things.
Yeah,
Oh, fasting and meditation.
yeah.
Absolutely.
If you think of it, um, we speak to spirit, we contact spirit. So there's no difference from years ago Moses doing what we're doing now, in a sense. Spirit talking
Yeah,
to him. Oh, okay, and he was scrying. Oh, writing things down. Oh, I need to. So they know it. Got these tablets. Scrolled into it. Yeah. So
absolutely.
giving him direction, and I think that's what probably I wouldn't know, but what I'm feeling is the people down below the mountain, I think, were lacking direction, lacking
Okay.
clear support, because lacking it. I don't know, because they come from such strict rules anyway that they needed to. I think it felt like they needed to follow something that they could
Mhm.
abide by, I suppose.
Like aimless. I hear the word aimless.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So structure was
That's
very necessary.
that's it. That's probably more than control. Structure. I like that.
That feels a lot better.
Yeah. I suppose anyone Europe, as we look at it, would say, "Oh, control." It's so easy. Oh. But I think it was, yeah. Uh, I can't think of another word, but structure was very good, because that's
Yeah, I think what happened with the control aspect is if you're looking forward in time and how the Ten Commandments and the religions that use them, I don't know how many use them, but how they maybe were later used in forms of control might have been part of the energy I picked up on.
yeah, yeah. Because I think the staff, it wasn't Moses' staff, so it's Moses' brother's staff. Wasn't that used to? I think in the story it said it turned into a snake in front of the
Oh,
Pharaoh. Yeah,
oh,
and
really?
then Moses changed it back from a snake to the staff again. Yeah, that's what
Wow.
happened. Okay, let's carry on.
The ark was then housed in a great tent known as the tabernacle. Only Moses and his brother Aaron were allowed to enter the innermost sanctum where the artifact was safely kept. There, it was said that they could communicate with God directly. Taken as a whole, the Ark of the Covenant would have been a truly magnificent thing to behold. Aside from its decorative splendor, it would have represented God's physical presence on earth, as well as containing material symbols of the Sinai covenant. Many biblical scholars and archaeologists believe that the Ark of the Covenant probably existed. Due to these incredibly precise measurements the Bible offers, it's likely that a scribe was carefully measuring the Ark firsthand and then proceeding to write it down on parchment. What's more, the practice of creating ornate ceremonial arks was widespread across the ancient Near East. The Ark of the Covenant has often been compared with ancient Egyptian procession barks, which carried statues of gods that were paraded around cities or transported down the Nile. With the discovery of the tomb of Tutankhamun in 1922, archaeologist Howard Carter saw a chest-like object which he initially thought was the fabled lost Ark. Upon further inspection, however, it was revealed to be a gilded funerary box for the young pharaoh. The similarity to the Ark is indeed striking, except that upon this chest sat the god Anubis, who was there to guide King Tut into the afterlife. Parallels to the Ark of the Covenant can be found outside ancient Egypt. This 9th century Phoenician sarcophagus, housing the body of King Ahram, depicts the storm god El sitting atop a throne guarded by 2 cherubim, which bears a close resemblance to the mercy seat on which the Hebrew god is supposed to appear. On a side note, this Levantine storm god, El, is believed to be the precursor of the biblical god, who in Hebrew is also often referred to as El, or more frequently in the plural form, Elohim. These close connections to neighboring ancient cultures provide good evidence that the Ark of the Covenant probably existed in one form or another, although some of the more mythological elements are of course debatable. In the biblical account, when it came time to travel, the Ark was carried by the priests. It always went 1 kilometer before the people and would emit a column of smoke that would guide the Israelites through their 40 years wandering the desert. When they finally arrived in the Promised Land under Moses' successor Joshua, the Ark miraculously separated the river Jordan, allowing the Israelites safe passage, just like Moses had done to the Red Sea all those years ago. However, if anyone handled the Ark that wasn't supposed to, they would meet a terrible fate, for it was soon revealed that the Ark had fearsome, destructive powers. In the book of Leviticus, 2 of Moses' nephews...
Did you get anything from that?
Not really, no.
I
There's some things that I'm wondering about, but what did you get?
No, I didn't. No, I thought I might pick some up, but it just... I do get that. I think it there's energy from it. I think that's what it is. I don't know what, but there feels maybe we'll explain a bit more. But also, it seems the actual design of it, I don't think is as ornate as it's depicting. I think it's
That
very,
lamb.
it's simpler, if you know what I mean. Very simpler.
Yes.
What we're watching is, well, what we're seeing, the intricate wings and and the long bow. Yeah, it's very simple. Very simple. Simply made. Okay.
Okay.
sneaked into the tabernacle and made an unauthorized offering to the ark. Only priests were permitted to do this, so the ark set the 2 men on fire, burning them to a crisp. Elsewhere in the Bible, there's an instant where the ark is carted off to Jerusalem. The oxen in front stumbled, and the ark wobbled. To prevent it from falling off, the driver briefly steadied the ark with his hand. Big mistake, for it kills him instantly. Perhaps the most cataclysmic event is when the ark is brought to a town called Beth Shemesh. Out of curiosity, the townsfolk look inside. As you'd expect, such a transgression would not go unpunished. The town is quickly engulfed in a fiery inferno. The death toll varies, but in one manuscript, it's at 50,070. Learning of the Ark's incredible power, the Israelites see its potential as a deadly weapon. Its most famous use can be found in the book of Joshua, where it's used to bring down the walls of Jericho.
Sorry, I'm just going to say, all I thought were they were tablets. I had no idea that they would be using this as a weapon. Were
Yeah.
you? Did you know this?
No.
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 I mean, they were saying 50,000 people died from the opening the covenant. Wow.
Yeah. I got an image where my hand was going to touch it.
Yeah.
There's something about a liquid. What is this liquid?
Why
It's
would there be?
on-
Why would there be a liquid in it?
I don't know. But it's like on it.
Weird.
You know what, that makes me wonder about like a chemical burn.
That would make sense.
But what this could be. And there's this feeling of, I've got to touch it. I'm so curious. And there's a very strong attraction, which many of the people, may have felt.
If it was, it's made out of gold, wasn't it? So you don't know what they've made, because obviously they've used, when they were traveling, all the old gold from Egypt and their own properties. They've made it down and they've put it over this chest. It probably looked quite impressive,
Yes.
And I think it was that attraction, like anything, oh, what's inside the box? Oh, let's have a look. Us humans are so nosy. Yeah, as you imagine kids. Now, don't open your Christmas presents. You don't. You want to take it in there. I remember as a kid, slowly trying to get the salad tape off and try and look inside. And that's what probably they did back then. But a liquid might maybe something was given off it. Maybe the sun had. I'm trying to think logically. How can something that burns somebody? I don't know. Maybe a reaction with normal sun and the desert, the heat. Something with the chemical, what they use to mold it down. I don't know. Who knows?
Yeah, this feels really bizarre. It's not totally see-through liquid. There's some thickness, some color to it. But it feels like a chemical burn.
Wow.
And it could produce a small amount of smoke. Only what I'm seeing so far. So,
yeah. I mean, I'm quite amazed in how something like that can destroy a whole town or a whole city. What the? Yeah. Okay.
No idea.
No. Let's have a look.
The siege, the Ark was processed around the city walls, whilst horns were sounded. This happened once a day. On the seventh day, everyone was instructed to shout simultaneously. In doing so, the city walls collapsed, and the Israelite army came flooding in to slaughter the city's inhabitants. Following God's law, no one was to be spared. The Ark of the Covenant was some kind of biblical superweapon. The Israelites brought it to a number of battles in order to unleash its devastating power upon their enemies. The Ark did not always guarantee victory, however. In one story, it gets captured by the Philistines and is taken away to their capital, Ashdod. There, it's placed before a statue of their god, Dagon. Angered at this, the Ark destroys the statue and then releases a horrific bubonic plague upon the city's population. Fearing the Ark, the Philistines rush to offer it back to the Israelites, who gratefully accept their request. You can see how all these Bible stories about the Ark of the Covenant inspired the 1981 film Raiders of the Lost Ark. In the film, the Nazis seek to use the Ark as a weapon, aware of its destructive powers. In the dramatic climax, they finally get hold of it and prise it open. But in a gory use...
Can I just say, and when I was young, when I watched this for the first time, I was like, the ending was really scary. I remember as a kid watching it. I was really like mortified. Yeah. Just been when it was all the faces like coming away from the...
Oh
no. Oh dear. Okay.
Of melting wax prosthetics, they are all met with a grisly fate. It's good to see that Hollywood is up to scratch with all their biblical research. The Ark causes all the devastation you'd come to expect of it. Once the Israelites had settled in the Promised Land, the Ark was eventually placed in a permanent home, the Temple. When the building was finally completed by King Solomon, the Ark was placed in a sacred inner chamber, known as the Holy of Holies. Once a year, on the festival of Yom Kippur, or the Day of Atonement, the high priest would be permitted to enter the sacred room. There, he would transfer all the nation's sins onto 2 small goats, and then sacrifice them upon an altar, proceeding to sprinkle the blood upon the mercy seat. This, incidentally, is the origin of the term scapegoat. You're welcome. The final mention of the Ark is not its destruction or theft, but how its caretakers were told to move it back to Jerusalem after it spent some time away from the temple. This event took place during the Passover in the 18th year in the reign of King Josiah, which places us roughly in the spring of 621 BCE. This is the last known sighting of the Ark, after which it is never mentioned again, disappearing entirely from the biblical narrative. The sudden disappearance of the Ark takes place just before Jerusalem is beset by disaster. About 35 years later, in 587 BCE, the Neo-Babylonian Empire besieged Jerusalem. Under the command of King Nebuchadnezzar II, the conquering army set everything ablaze. The temple was ransacked and destroyed. Much of the population was killed, but those who survived were captured and sent away to Babylon, forbidden from returning home. There they endured great turmoil, as many were forced into slavery. This lasted for 70 years, marking a dark period in Jewish history known as the Exile. After the exile, when the Jews eventually returned to their homeland and rebuilt the temple, there are no references to the Ark. It doesn't seem to have been there anymore. Even when this second temple was eventually destroyed by the Romans in 70 CE, there's no mention of the Ark being taken. A contemporary Jewish writer, Flavius Josephus, offers an itinerary of things stolen, but the Ark is missing. Quote, "The golden table of the weight of many talents, the candlestick also that was made of gold, and the last of all in the spoils was carried away the law of the Jews." There is no direct mention of the Ark, although some have taken that last phrase, the law of the Jews, as a hidden reference to it. To me, it seems a bit unlikely, as in the Roman Forum today, there's a triumphal arch depicting this very incident. You can see all the treasures of the temple, including that golden candlestick, but no ark. This is unusual. For such a valuable and significant treasure, it would have deserved some sort of representation, either by the Romans or by Josephus. All lines of inquiry point back to the Babylonian siege of Jerusalem in 587 as the date the Ark officially goes missing. It's likely that the disappearance of the Ark in the Bible is somehow connected to this Babylonian invasion and the destruction of the temple. In the Talmud, a collection of Jewish writings, the rabbis assume that the Ark of the Covenant was probably destroyed that day, either when the temple burnt down and collapsed, or when it was carted away to Babylon. This is possible, but it's also an assumption. Nowhere does it explicitly say that the Ark of the Covenant was indeed destroyed that day. With this lack of evidence, it raises a near infinite number of other possibilities. Perhaps the Ark was hidden somewhere safe before the arrival of the Babylonians, or perhaps it was never even there in the first place. It may be out there today, waiting to be discovered.
Well, that was very interesting. What do you make of that?
Yeah, number one, I mean, it really was used as a weapon. This was supposed to be a positive episode.
You chose it, Hannah.
Yeah, it's my fault.
Yeah, I mean, as I said, I never knew that it was used as a weapon, or all these people, you know, dying and stuff and bad. Yeah, no idea. Just shows I haven't read my history, my religious history very well. Um,
Right.
so what do you? And
There's something about wanting to get it out of certain hands because of how it was being used. And I do see again the digging, or I see them hiding it in that 587 period, where that last picture that they showed with the fire in the background. I see them hiding it and wanting to get it away so it's not used in that particular manner that it had been used.
yeah,
What did you get?
I just got it's not what you think. It's not what it seems. It's not what it seems. It's not what you think. I too felt like it was hidden, but I get a sense of it was the the stones are more important than the actual casket.
Yep.
Casket that you could just get rid of, and the stones are what was very important.
Yeah, at some point, the container it was in was removed, and it was just the remaining stones, or and some were in pieces, were um were saved. And who knows what happened to, oh, so they might have been moved to two separate locations.
Right.
So that container that they had been in was moved all the way over here, and then 300 miles away, the
Yeah.
tablets were.
Yeah. But do we think the actual ark caused all those deaths?
I don't know.
Coincidence. I
Yeah.
think if you scientifically had to look at something, you go, "Oh, that was coincidence." I think things. I think people did die and stuff, but I think it was just coincidence. Then
Yes.
to to the ark.
There's
Okay.
something about like that liquid, and so they may have had abrasions if they touched it, or rashes on their skin.
Oh, yes.
What?
Sorry, I just got. You're totally on point. So the Egyptians with pharaohs, they put uh, 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 their tombs would be I would have spores and something in the air. So when you opened like a tomb, everyone who opened it, there'd be the rush of air and whatever the spores were, and suddenly you would die.
Oh
Exactly the
my
same thing. So
gosh.
I suddenly got an image of a pharaoh's tomb. I was like, oh yes. So I think the same thing was associated with this, so that it would stop people nicking it, stop people taking it. It was part of the structure, part of the rules, part of the keeping it safe. Yeah. So you're right. Something was um, put on it, and if
Oh,
somebody lifted it open, it would escape, that they would ingest and die.
oh, that really lands. Okay.
To put it into, even though spiritually, and obviously growing up a Catholic, growing up a Church of England and all those, so I would say yes, well, that was part of what God would do. But I think it was the helping hand. Yeah, I get a helping hand. So it was just the start. There we go.
Yeah.
Gosh, I was trying to work out how with your solution and stuff like that. I was thinking, well, how? How could it remain on there? But it was like oh, I get what's like grease?
I hear the word lacquer.
Yeah,
Does that make sense?
I get like it's like a grease
Okay.
that or lacquer. Yes, you're probably right. Would and it would
Does look like that.
it wouldn't evaporate.
Yes, correct. It's got a thickness to it.
Yes, yes, yeah,
Yeah.
and it was coated around it,
Yeah.
like a chain. We would put things on chains and stuff like that to on a bike and and in a car. There's something to protect all the working movements. Yeah, something was put around it. Gosh. Okay.
Okay.
These possibilities we turn to now. With such a famous and high-profile artifact like the Ark of the Covenant, there are several theories as to its current location. Some are better than others, so I've narrowed it down to 3 of the most plausible. Some early Jewish sources say that it was hidden in a safe location somewhere in the Judean desert. One of these is the second book of Maccabees. You won't find this book in all Bibles. It's what's known as an apocryphal text. In the centuries after the Babylonian exile, new biblical texts were composed. Examples include the Book of Jubilees and the Book of Enoch. Since they lacked the long history of tradition that books like Genesis or Exodus enjoyed, their canonical status has not quite been agreed upon. The second book of Maccabees is one of these apocryphal books, believed to have been written somewhere between 150 and 120 BCE. The book describes how just before the Babylonian invasion, the prophet Jeremiah had a premonition that the ark would be destroyed, and so decided to hide it in the wilderness. The book says that Jeremiah took it to, quote, the mountain where Moses had gone up and had seen the inheritance of God. This has been thought to refer to Mount Nebo in Jordan, the mountain from which Moses saw God's promised land in the book of Deuteronomy, although this is far from certain. After hiding the ark in a cave at the base of the mountain, along with some other temple paraphernalia...
So I'm just going to pause there. Okay, when that guy was talking, it was taken up to the mountain. This big gush of wind over around me. And I was like, I was like, oh my God. It was like goosebumps all up my arms. I was like, oh my God, I'm going to be burnt. We're looking into this. We're going to be tortured. Oh dear. Oh, spirits laughing. Oh, sorry about that.
Jeremiah closed off the entrance. Some of his followers wanted to mark the site so that they could find it later, but the prophet stopped them from doing so, saying, quote, the place shall remain unknown until God gathers his people together again and shows his mercy. This somewhat cryptic biblical prophecy has not stopped many intrepid gravediggers from making illegal excavations around Mount Nebo, hoping to find the Ark, to which the Jordanian government monitors closely and prosecutes heavily. For sanctioned archaeological digs, much has been found nearby the mountain, but no secret cave containing the lost Ark of the Covenant. This has prompted archaeologists to look at other mountains featured in the Bible, hoping to find the Ark there instead, particularly Mount Sinai, the place where Moses received the 10 Commandments. Problem is, however, no one actually knows where the original Mount Sinai is supposed to be, and so a whole other investigation gets underway. Most say that the biblical Mount Sinai is Jebel Musa in Egypt. This tradition goes back to the 6th century CE, when Christians built a monastery near the base of the mountain. But there's evidence to suggest that the actual Mount Sinai may be elsewhere. Here are all the possible locations that have been put forward for the biblical Mount Sinai. You can see that we're dealing with a very large geographical area, covering parts of Egypt, Saudi Arabia, and Jordan. Any one of these locations could have a cave holding the Ark of the Covenant. Assuming, of course, that it hasn't already been discovered. One writer suggests that the Ark of the Covenant was already found during the Crusades by a group of knights known as the Templar. According to this theory, these knights were camped out near the ruins of Petra, Jordan. Having heard that the Ark may be hidden somewhere nearby, they began to search the area eventually arriving at a mountain called Jebel al-Madba. At the base of this mountain, they reportedly stumbled across an unmarked cave. Lighting their torches, they ventured inside. Glinting in the torchlight lay golden treasures and ancient ornaments that had presumably remained undisturbed for thousands of years. But at the back of the cave, they found what they'd been looking for: the Ark of the Covenant. From here, it's been said that the Templars brought their treasures back to Europe, but they remained secretive about the Ark of the Covenant, which they jealously kept for themselves. Some believe that it went to Chartres Cathedral in France. Others say it went to the estate of the English nobleman Ralph de Sudley. Others still say that it was taken to Ireland and then shipped off to the emerging American colonies. These stories raise some interesting possibilities, but as much as I'd like to believe in them, it's difficult to. You see, there's not a lot of valid evidence behind these theories. It's primarily speculation, relying on some pretty dubious source material. As such, these theories are typically dismissed by most historians and deemed to be the work of controversial and fringe writers.
Did you get anything, Heather, from that?
Well, it feels they've definitely been found. It's more wondering, how did they find them? Because there's so many possibilities. So, and that's hard to get because I'm asking for a lot of information. But part of it is, I don't know if this is right. A lot was invested into locating them. Does that land for you?
Carry on.
And so it may have been like a very rich person, or a very rich group. I'm going towards a very rich person, who's like been big into history. Hiring this huge excavation crew, different sites. I can't say that I'm 100% on that, but that's the route I'm going down.
The guy said, I don't think the Knight Templars got it. It doesn't resonate with me. What does resonate is the cup of Christ.
Okay. The Holy Grail?
Yeah, well, apparently the Holy Grail. But what I also disagree with is the cave. It was put in a cave. I did get that, but it was left. There wasn't any what's the word? Jewels or other stuff of value in front of it. Seems like it was just buried on itself.
Definitely, I definitely saw that.
I feel it was rushed. It was like, oh, this will do. It just feels like, boom, yeah. It feels like not a lot of time. Yeah. I don't know. I still haven't. What hasn't resonated with me at the moment is who has excavated, who's got it.
Yeah.
Because it feels, the energy feels like everyone's looking for it, which I'm sure they are. It feels like, again and again, it's not what you've seen. It's not what you see. It's not what you think. It's not what you've seen. It keeps coming to mind.
As far as the ark itself.
Yeah. Okay, let's see what else we get.
Back to our initial position, that the Ark was supposedly hidden in the Judean desert. One thing that is really going for this theory is that significant archaeological finds continue to be discovered in this region, particularly in desert caves. In 1946, two Bedouin shepherds were herding their goats near some ruins by the Dead Sea. Noticing small caves on the cliffside, they climbed up to have a look. In the caves, they found a collection of small clay pots. Breaking them open, they found a series of delicate scrolls and manuscript fragments. They had been incredibly well preserved due to the hot desert climate, and the ancient Hebrew was still legible. What was unknown to them is they had made the most significant archaeological find in biblical scholarship to this date. It's currently believed that these scrolls belong to a Jewish sect known as the Essenes, who hid these pots right before their community was attacked by the Romans, rather similar to how the Book of Maccabees said that the prophet Jeremiah hid the Ark shortly before the Babylonian invasion. Just like the caves containing the Dead Sea Scrolls lay unexplored for thousands of years, there may be other caves out there waiting to be discovered. If the stories are to be believed, then the Ark of the Covenant may be inside one of them. Unless, however, that the Ark was never hidden in the desert in the first place, but instead taken to Africa.
Oh, a lot to digest there. I think there's still more to discover. I think there's still stuff that is hidden around.
Yeah, there sure is. I do think they were in a cave.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah. Shall I carry on?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
As this next theory shall explore. For centuries, a group of Christians in Aksum, Ethiopia, have claimed to be in possession of the Ark. It's allegedly being held in a small chapel, but no one is allowed to see it. The story as to how the Ark may have ended up in Ethiopia can be found in the Kebra Nagast, a sacred chronicle of the country. In one story, it claims that King Solomon and the Queen of Sheba had a son together, whom they named Menelik. Although he was raised in Jerusalem, when he reached adulthood, Menelik had to return to the land of his mother's origin, Ethiopia. Before he left, however, some of Menelik's priests sneaked into the temple and secretly stole King Solomon's most precious object, the Ark. They replaced it with a flawless copy, impossible to differentiate from the original. On his journey home, Menelik discovered that the Ark was with him, but was surprised to see that no one had been harmed by its infamously destructive powers, not even the priests who had taken it. Interpreting this as a sign from God, he brought it back to Ethiopia and placed it in the holy city of Aksum. Legend has it that it's been there for 3,000 years and can be found in a small chapel at the Church of Our Lady Mary of Zion. It's been guarded by an unbroken line of monks who are forbidden to leave the chapel grounds. No one from the outside world is allowed to enter. Despite
Sorry, did you get anything from that?
There's something about when you said it's not what it seems. I saw an exchange of like the stone tablets were exchanged for a scroll. Something's getting exchanged.
Yeah.
Is maybe one of them a decoy?
Yeah. That sounds about right. You see, I was, I got how can I put it? Here's an example. So the blood of Christ would have been a very simple goblet. Wouldn't have been
Mhm.
gold, wouldn't have diamonds on it, wouldn't have jewels. It will be just a very simple goblet.
Right.
That Mary would have drunk of, Jesus would have drunk out of. And it feels like that's what the covenant's now become. It feels like that they have disguised it so that this ornate box, all that this covenant would be drawn to, but probably a little box with just some tablets in it and just probably, with no
Yeah.
batter an eyelid.
Right.
And it feels that's what it feels like. Smoke and
Yeah.
mirrors, smoke and mirrors.
Yeah.
I'm probably really wrong, but I guess yes, it feels like smoke and mirrors. I do feel that they try to go separate ways with it, and like you said, yeah, it was trying to make people believe
Yes.
that it was this big thing. It probably was in its heyday, but I think it feels like it's changed.
And to motivate the people to be hope for them.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, let's see what else it
Okay.
says.
There are some out there who have claimed to have been inside the chapel and have seen the Ark with their own eyes. British historian Edward Ullendorff, a professor of Ethiopian studies in London, is one of them. In an interview, he revealed to have been shown it secretly in 1941, while stationed there during the Second World War. However, he did not believe that it was genuine. Having inspected the Ark for himself, he described it as, quote, a wooden box, but as empty. Middle to late medieval construction, when these were fabricated ad hoc. Since this revelation, scholars have doubted the claims that the Ark really is in Ethiopia. They regard the story of King Menelik as an attempt at national myth-making and a way for Ethiopian monarchs to justify their right to rule. Many Ethiopian Christians vehemently deny these claims, maintaining that the true Ark really is in their possession. To my mind, what would prove beyond a doubt that the Ark really is in Ethiopia would be if it was finally shown to the world, dispelling all the rumours claiming it's a hoax. This actually nearly happened in 2009, when Patriarch Abune Paulos stated to the foreign press he would finally unveil it. Unfortunately, however, he retracted his offer the next day. As of now, the Ark of the Covenant supposedly remains in this Ethiopian chapel, until the Ark is shown to the world voluntarily, or it is taken by force, as some have feared recently. This line of inquiry remains unresolved.
What was your first reaction to that? Do you think it's there?
It's no, I
No,
don't.
I don't either.
Um, I Yeah, I was starting to laugh because I think it was the gentleman Ullendorf, if that's the correct pronunciation. That might have been his feeling that came across to me of like laughter. Um, but then something moved through me, and it was this powerful experience. It was hope, and it was mystery, and maybe that the arc was to stay unknown. Maybe the location was to remain unknown because it was to serve other purposes for people. So it's okay if certain folks say that they have it, or if they really believe that they have it, because it's giving them hope that they need, or
Yeah.
whatever else might be their joy that they may need, pride that they may need, that kind of a thing. It just swept right through me, and it seemed really beautiful.
When you were saying that, I suddenly got shown a picture of Pandora's box.
Mm,
Same story, but changed. There's that hope. Remember that all the in Pandora's box, she was inquisitive. What's inside? So she opened it, and all the diseases, all the badness that came into the environment, and people died, and she was besotted and was like, so upset. And just at the bottom, there was this last thing was man's hope, and that resonates what you were saying. Yeah,
wow. Yeah, it's different things for different people, different groups of people,
yeah,
and it's supposed to be that way.
yeah, yeah. I agree. I think if it's I think the thought, the hope, the power is stronger out there than if it was on my kitchen table.
Yeah.
I can't explain
And then you're
why.
like, what am I going to do with this?
Oh, I'll just put it. I'll just put it in the pantry. It can be there
Yeah.
with the tins of beans and kidney beans. It can be there. Somebody comes. I'm trying to look for some spaghetti. Yeah, just behind the Ark of the Covenant, just at the back. But you know what? That is what. Maybe that's the image. That's the image I'm trying. That. Oh, that really resonates with me in terms of what you said, the hope, and what I'm saying is someone like, oh, right at the back is the Ark of the Covenant. Yeah, fine, just going, and doesn't even batter an eyelid, because that's what they wanted. They don't want it to be made aware of or attention around it, because the hope and belief that maybe in that locked room over there is greater.
Yeah, it would lose its power and its
Yeah.
mystique.
Yeah, and that's, I think, is important, because as soon as people see that box, oh, is that it? Oh, it will lose its power, I think.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and the mystic side around it, and the spirituality. I think the more
Yes.
we know it is, the greater it becomes, the more we put energy into it, and it becomes believable, real. Yeah,
Very much so.
yeah. Okay. About 10 minutes to go. Let's go.
For this final theory, we'll be returning to the Holy Land, back to the city where our search began, Jerusalem. Some believe that the Ark was hidden underneath the temple on the site on what's today known as Temple Mount. In the 12th century CE, Jewish scholar and philosopher Maimonides claimed to know the whereabouts of the Ark. He wrote that whilst building the temple, King Solomon had a warning from God that one day it would all be destroyed, including the treasures it was designed to protect. As a precaution, King Solomon allegedly constructed a network of maze-like vaults so that the Ark could be safely kept underground. The account continues to state that King Josiah, who reigned during the last mention of the Ark in the Bible, used these underground chambers to secretly house the Ark before the arrival of the Babylonians. As it was located safely underground, it would have survived the collapse of the temple above, but as it was never seen or heard of again, perhaps no one came to collect it, and it may be still down there today. Even if you don't believe in the story offered by Maimonides, there are a number of rumors that there are indeed underground chambers beneath Temple Mount. Writing roughly 1,000 years before Maimonides, Jewish historian Flavius Josephus wrote about certain royal caves underneath the city of Jerusalem that were used to escape the Romans. That's an unusual descriptor, royal. It seems to hint at the idea that some of these caves were built during the reign of Israelite kings. In modern times, a number of underground networks have actually been discovered across Jerusalem. In 1854, archaeologists discovered a disused quarry that ran beneath part of the old city's Muslim quarter. Named Zedekiah's Cave, it covers an area of about 5 acres, and it's the largest cave network discovered beneath the city. Since then, archaeologists have mapped out a whole subterranean network underneath Jerusalem. Some of these, like the Siloam Tunnel, date somewhere around the 9th to 8th century BCE, roughly the same time in which King Solomon is supposed to have reigned. But there's one place that has not been explored properly, the area underneath Temple Mount. The reason why no excavations have been carried out beneath Temple Mount is because there are a number of sacred structures that lie on top of it, the most prominent of which is the Dome of the Rock. Initially completed in 962 CE, the dome is a beautifully decorated Islamic monument that enshrines the rock where the Prophet Muhammad is believed to have ascended to heaven. The Dome of the Rock, as well as the nearby Al-Aqsa Mosque, are built atop Temple Mount, upon the site where Solomon's temple is believed to have stood. Just below Temple Mount is also the Western Wall, the last surviving portion of the Second Temple that was destroyed by the Romans. This wall is considered to be the holiest place in Judaism. Performing an excavation on Temple Mount would be controversial. It would risk upsetting a number of religious groups, as archaeological work beneath these structures could cause damage. or even collapse. This hasn't stopped some, however, from trying. On the 28th of July 1981,
Can quickly pause there. What do you get from that?
Yeah, I don't think it's there.
I don't think I even I don't. Unfortunately, humans are inquisitive. If money is involved, doesn't matter what the religion is. If somebody wants something, somebody will get it, unfortunately.
Mm.
And if there was anything of value, historic or religious, people would want to find it and protect it or sell it or, or use it. Doesn't matter, I think, where it is.
Yes.
It would be used. So whether it's the Muslim side or the Jewish side or Christian side, yeah, I think if anything, they've already gone in the tunnels all the way through anyway.
Yeah, I still get it's rural. I mean, it's away from the city.
Yeah.
And so desert type of area. I don't know if that's total desert there, but I think it is. I don't know that that's the desert, what I'm seeing.
Are you seeing past Italy, past France, across the Channel? Oh, you're now in England, in Brighton. Up my road. Oh, it's in my pantry.
I am not allowed to do that.
Oh, that's funny.
I was
Yeah.
like, where are we
Going?
going?
That's funny. So it mixed with the spices and the spaghetti and the tomato sauce at the back. Oh, there it is. Yeah, I think, yeah, I think so. It's place of no consequence
Yes.
where you would not even think where it is. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, let's go.
a dispute broke out near the Western Wall. It had been discovered that someone had been performing an unlicensed dig beneath Temple Mount. This someone was Rabbi Yehuda Getz.
Yes.
He had been trying to find the Ark.
Oh,
Having been warned not to, Getz had organized a secret excavation beneath Temple Mount.
yeah.
The
Don't
dig
do
took
it.
place during the cover of
I'm
night,
gonna do it.
and shortly into proceedings, a small opening was discovered, behind which lay a large tunnel, 28 meters long and 6 meters wide. The newly discovered tunnel was believed to connect to a number of chambers underneath Temple Mount, as a small archway was discovered near the end. Getz was sure that behind this lay the final resting place of the Ark. Before more work could be done, news about it was leaked on an Israeli radio station. Shortly after, large crowds on either side of the religious divide gathered outside, and a fight broke out. The dig was banned, and further excavations were cancelled by authorities. Since then, the chambers beneath Temple Mount remain closed off. As you may be aware from recent political events in Jerusalem, the situation is still very tense. So for the time being, a systematic excavation on Temple Mount is strictly forbidden. Whatever may be lying underneath Temple Mount continues to be out of reach. In recent years, however, there have been some new non-destructive methods to get glimpses as to what's beneath Temple Mount.
Sorry, did you get something?
Yeah, just seeing such frustration and like people obsession, like and slamming their head against the wall, symbolically speaking, of this quest to get the Ark, and to do it at any cost.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that, what they just talked about, the tension came through, and the anger and greed and all of this chaos mixed together.
I got a sense of once I get it, I can use it against the Jewish. I can use it,
Yeah.
either destroy it, or I can use it against them. It felt like that sort of not bartering, you control. Oh, there's your control.
Oh, yeah,
There's the
that's
control.
right.
The control. I will be able to control because I own this. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's very unfortunate.
Well, most wars are caused by religion, aren't they? In one way or
Yeah.
another. Jeez. Okay. Have you
Yeah,
ever
but
been?
they're missing the real treasure of it,
Yeah.
because they're focusing on this very simple, very materialistic piece of physically holding the item or items instead of the bigger picture. And it's really a treasure for all of us.
Yes. Yeah. I agree.
You know,
I agree. Have you ever been to Jerusalem?
I haven't. No.
I have. It's
Wow.
amazing. Amazing. Yeah. The
Yeah,
Wailing
that's
Wall is just the energy is
oh,
um unfathomable. I can't describe it.
amazing.
I remember there and was just overwhelmed with the emotion
Hmm.
coming just from the wall. It was amazing. It's a beautiful city and just
Yeah.
beautiful people. Unfortunately, just there's war there. It's just a sad thing, but it
Yeah.
is amazing, absolutely amazing. The bazaars are oh wow, the food. Oh, food is amazing.
Oh, I bet.
But yeah, it's so much to take in. You get overwhelmed with everything around you and people with guns and this and that and around the end. Just it's all overwhelmed. But I have to say, the Wailing Wall that area was so magical.
Hmm.
I don't know if that's the right word. I just can't. Very spiritual, but just yeah. And you can just imagine the amount of years that people have gone there to pray, and it's kept the energy. It's just amazing. Yeah,
Electrical.
yeah. So it's very amazing. The energy is incredible.
Hmm.
Okay, sorry, digressing.
No, thank you.
It is in my pantry. It's behind the spaghetti.
One pioneering method is ground penetrating radar, or GPR. Using high frequency radio waves, it maps out subterranean surfaces and then generates a blurry image. An advantage of this technique is that it's non-invasive. Nothing needs to be dug up or damaged. However, even the slightest amount of interference can manipulate the image. This can be caused by electricity or certain rocks, and in the ancient capital city of Jerusalem, there's plenty of both. As archaeological digs are not allowed to happen anytime soon, this could be the best way to finally locate the lost Ark of the Covenant. Nearing the end of our investigation, we're left with 3 theories as to the Ark of the Covenant's current location. 1. The Ark is hidden in a cave somewhere in the Judean desert, if it hasn't already been discovered. 2. The Ark is in a chapel in Ethiopia, having been guarded there for thousands of years. And 3. The Ark is still in Jerusalem, buried in a secret underground chamber below the site of the original temple. Each of these theories have their individual merits and flaws, but there's one problem that they all have in common. All 3 of our stories are based on written accounts that were composed many years after the Ark went missing. The apocryphal book, the Second Book of Maccabees, was written some 500 years after the Ark disappeared. The Ethiopian chronicle, the Kebra Nagast, was likely written in the 14th century CE. And the Jewish scholar Maimonides, who claimed that the Ark was hidden in Jerusalem, lived in the 12th century CE. None of these accounts are eyewitnesses. We don't know where they got their information from. All we're working with are anecdotes based on centuries and in some cases millennia old rumors. With such a lack of reliable evidence, critical investigation inevitably turns into speculation. It's also worth considering the limitations of using the Bible as a piece of historical evidence. While some passages can be linked to known historical events, they are often filtered through myth and written down centuries after the events were supposed to have happened. It's difficult to know where the truth ends and the mythology begins. To try to get to the bottom of this, we'll need to go back and examine the things that we do know. To do that, let's rewind back to the original starting point. We know that after the destruction of the temple in 587 BCE, the Ark is never mentioned again in the Bible. I've already mentioned that many have assumed that the Ark was destroyed during this time, and I've expressed my issues about working on the basis of an assumption. But looking back, perhaps I was too harsh. Maybe the Ark really is lost to history. During the exile, after the Babylonians invaded and sacked Jerusalem, the Israelites faced a crisis of religion. With the destruction of the temple and its sacred artifacts, God's physical presence on earth was now gone. For an ancient Israelite, this would have been an incredibly difficult reality to have to come to terms with, leading many to abandon their ancestral beliefs. Yet it's during this time of grief and mourning when a number of changes begin to happen in the religion of these ancient people. Across the ancient Near East, a belief in a deity was based on things you could see, such as statues, temples, or arks. These things were now all gone, and belief began to move into something more immaterial. For the ancient Israelites, God was not something you had to see in order to worship. It was just something you believed in, despite the lack of physical evidence. It is during this time where the biblical texts were codified and written down. The ancient Israelites put faith in their shared stories, contained in their emerging holy texts. It is during this time where scholars mark the end of ancient Israelite religion and the start of Judaism. This seismic shift in religious thought would have made sense if the Ark was indeed destroyed. The cultic religion of ancient Israel had to adapt to the loss of the material symbols of the covenant. Perhaps then, those claiming to know the whereabouts of the Ark are clinging on to something that may have already been lost. Unable to move on from their grief, they hold on to the hope that the Ark is still out there. Or maybe, just maybe, they know something that we don't. Perhaps there is an undiscovered cave out there in the Judean desert that contains the temple's most valuable treasures. Or that the chapel in Ethiopia really does guard the Ark of the Covenant and it's not an elaborate hoax, as some have suspected. Or that the Ark is safely hidden in a subterranean chamber somewhere underneath Temple Mount, in the same place it went missing all those many years ago. If any of these theories are indeed right on this, and the Ark of the Covenant really is out there waiting to be found, it would make for the greatest discovery in archaeological history. However, perhaps we should exercise caution, considering how dangerous this artifact is supposed to be. Perhaps some things are best left undisturbed.
Your point about the energy is great if you can't actually physically see it. You said that earlier, and like what he said. I wondered if, say, doing the video and then at the end going, well, maybe we're not supposed to find it, and maybe it's not real, and you think, oh, is that just deterring me from the fact that I need to go now hunt for it? So I wonder, so my question is, do you think it has been found?
Something's been found, but so originally when I saw the men digging like deep down in the cave and I said the like pieces were crumbled of like stone tablets or something, that feels pretty old.
Yeah.
That is not present day or even within 100, hundreds of years. So yeah, that is a really long time ago. That may have been when they moved them, but this is starting to be speculation, and it's important to be honest because spirit isn't showing beyond that. So it may need to remain hidden.
Yeah, I get
Something was found.
It's above your pay grade.
Yeah. Yeah.
I agree. I think it's one of those things that the energy is more powerful and greater. It's for it to be still hidden. Even if it's found, I think it has been found, and I think it's stored somewhere, and it's with loads of different artifacts, and it is literally hidden away.
But is there another thing that hasn't been found that's connected to it or important to it that you wouldn't know was important? This decoy bit.
Yeah, I think the real thing is smoke and mirrors. So people have, oh, what's this? Oh, okay, we'll put it in here, and don't realize it's really the covenant. That's what I get.
That's it. Yeah.
And I think the next decoy, I don't think it survived. I think that has been what's the word? Melted down.
God, I saw that too. Oh, that's weird. Yeah.
It's been melted down and used elsewhere.
Yep.
So so in a sense, it is lost, but it's been found. No, it's been found, but it's lost.
But it's still.
Yeah, it's around, but we can't, because it's. Okay, illusion. What's the illusion? It's because it's not what it seems. It's probably
They don't get it.
It's in a Tupperware box,
right?
You know, and it's people don't realize what they've got.
Yep. Oh, weird.
Yeah, and that is the greater power for it. That's because the faiths and the religions that believe it and know it's there, that is what's important, not some tablets, not a box.
Yeah.
The faith, the meaning, the feeling is greater.
And that keeps it safe.
Yeah. Oh, I just feel really happy. I think
it's so cool.
like, yes. And that's why because then we can it feels like put it to rest.
Yes.
There's no need for us to hunt it. There's no need, because we know these things are great. Same with all the other artificial. I was going to say artificial artifacts. All the other religious artifacts, you know, that people want to find. And you go, why? You know, the feeling is much greater of knowing knowing that Christ drank out of the cup, or those are the thorns, rather than actually seeing them, feeling them. Because then you start to question, then you doubt, and then the bad things come in where we're not raising our vibration of love of that thing, you know. So
right, very true.
Yeah. So what do you think, guys? What's your answer? Where do you think it is? Do you think it's in my pantry, behind the spaghetti and tomatoes? Or do you think it's in Heather's laundry box? Or do you think it's in a cave? Or do you think the CIA have it? Let us know. Interesting. Or, just to put it out there, do you think Indiana Jones has really kept it?
Yeah, great movies.
Great mood. So I'll leave it there. Let you think. Please comment. We'd love to hear your comments. Doesn't matter how freaky they are. And let us know. It's really important. So
it is.
Yeah, this is a great video. Thank you, Heather.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Thanks for doing it.
I hope you enjoyed it. Remember, like, subscribe, and ring that notification bell and let us know. And we'll see you again soon.
All right. See you guys.
Goodbye from me. Goodbye from
Heather.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye.